Hello, everyone. Thank you so much for joining us today for Take Root Milwaukee's webinar on the home buying process. We're really excited to have you with us, and we have some really great presenters that will be that have joined us today, and each of them are going to walk us through one segment of the home buying process. So I'm going to start off by sharing my screen as we have quite a few slides that we're going to share with you all. Okay, great. So this evening we have, as I mentioned, a number of people who will be presenting. I am Heather Doomer-Combs. I'm the program director for Take Root Milwaukee. We also have Deatra Kemp from Axe Housing. She is the vice president of programs. She's going to talk about housing counseling and the importance of the home buying counseling process. And then Ben Sanchez from the city. He is the housing rehabilitation manager for DCD NIDC. So that's the Department of City Development, Neighborhood Improvement Development Corporation. I think I have that right. And then we have Tamara Castle, who is the CRA Mortgage Loan Officer for Associated Bank. We have Sonia Mays, who is a broker owner of Midwest Executive Realty. And then we have Jermaine Alexander, who is the Healthy Housing Repair Manager for Sherman Park Community Association. I will be monitoring the Q&A and the chat throughout today's webinar. So when you do have questions, feel free to post them and we will do our best to answer them. Take Root Milwaukee is a membership consortium made up of housing counseling agencies, lenders, realtors, neighborhood groups, nonprofit organizations, the city, any organization that works to promote homeownership and support neighborhood stabilization. So we really focus on not only buying, but also keeping and fixing homes. So if you have any additional questions about this activity, this work that we do, please contact us through the website or the hotline. So we currently have housing counseling agencies. There's actually these four, and SDC has recently also been awarded a HUD certified housing counseling agency. You can find more information about that, each of these organizations on the website. But today we're going to hear from Dee from Axe Housing. So Dee, why don't you take it away and talk a little bit about Axe Housing and the home buying process with the housing counselor.
Absolutely. Thank you so much, Heather, for the invitation and giving us the opportunity to be a part of this webinar. And of course, thank you to everybody who has taken their time on this beautiful day to learn more about home ownership and how to position yourself and your family to get into home ownership if that's something that you want to do. My name is Deatra Kemp. I'm the Vice President of Programs at Axe Housing, and I'm really excited to talk to you about why it's important to work with a home buyer coaching agency like Axe or the other agencies that Heather talked about, how to get started with us, and the benefits of working with a home buyer coach. So if you're thinking about home ownership for the first time, a lot of times you can be lost and say, I'm not sure where I need to begin. And you should not feel any type of way about that. Because to be quite honest with you, the home buying process can be difficult. It can be laborious to get through. It can be complex. And for this to be one of the biggest purchases that you will make in your life, there's not a lot of transparency around it. So we always tell everybody at Axe Housing that the most important thing that you do as part of this process is building your team. that's going to get you to home ownership, that's going to get you to the finish line. And that team is like a square. It's got 4 corners, okay? It starts with you in one corner. The second person you need in your corner is a home buyer coach or a HUD certified counselor who will help you get to the point where you can be pre-approved for a mortgage. We work with you to get you through any credit repair issues that you need to address, any debt issues that you need to address. And we're going to work with you as long as it takes to get you to the point where we can confidently submit you to one of our great lending partners like Tamara over at Associated Bank to get you pre-approved for that mortgage. So don't be afraid if you don't know where to start. This home buying system, quite honestly, was designed around a very specific community that somebody who looks like me isn't a part of. And so it's normal for it to seem difficult or complex. Don't let that scare you. There are people at these home buyer agencies who want nothing more than to help guide you through this process so you can reach your goal of home ownership. We can go ahead to the next slide, Heather. So at ACTS, our mission is empowerment through home ownership. This is really important, you guys. At ACTS, we're an empowerment agency. There are some great social service agencies in our community, and they provide amazing services that are needed. But we're not a social service agency. We're not a place that you come to and fill out paperwork, and then we say, okay, this is what you get. We're an agency with the goal of helping you understand the home buying process, navigate it successfully, and get yourself into home ownership. So we're really here to empower you, to make sure you are financially savvy enough and have all the information you need to make good choices about what kind of home you want to be in, what's most affordable for you, what's the best loan product for you, all of those little things that get you to that big final goal of home ownership. At ACTS, our vision is vibrant neighborhoods through home ownership, because homeowners make neighborhoods better. And there's tons of statistics that support that. Kids who grow up where their parents own the home are more stable. They do better in school. Homeowners vote because they care about what's happening in their community, and they want to make sure that they have people who are advocating to help their community get better. And ultimately, the asset that they live in, they want to see that go up. And part of that means that you're voting and you're being active in your community. Homeowners start neighborhood watches, and really help make the community better. And for me, one of the biggest benefits of home ownership that too often we don't talk about are the mental health benefits of having the ability to control your own space. Not living in a manner where somebody can slap a 12-hour notice on your door anytime they want, and then they're coming in your house to check out things. Not living in a situation where when your baby says they want their bedroom colored that lime green, you can't say, okay, baby, that's fine, because you've got to ask somebody. Not being able to go buy your child a pet because you've got to ask somebody's permission for that. Too often, we don't talk about the fact that home ownership equals freedom. Freedom to control your own space, to control all the little things that can really make your life better. And sometimes it's those small things, those simple things that are so important to your quality of life and your wellness and your mental health. So if you're tired of having a landlord, you pick up the phone, you call one of these housing agencies and you tell them, I need to understand how I get myself into home ownership. It's okay to let every notice you get be a personal insult, because I promise you, you can do this. And there are agencies and people who want to support you in this process, who are eager to support you in this process. This is why agencies like ACTS and UCC and SDC exist. This is all we want to do, is help more minority families get into home ownership. And the system has not been designed for you. And we know that, but please know you are not broken. The system is broken, and we will help you navigate that system. We can go to the next slide. So I just want to talk a little bit about exactly what we do at ACTS. At ACTS, we really pride ourselves on being a one-stop shop for home ownership, putting together that square that we talked about. So it's me. I'm interested in home ownership. I need to get the second part of my square. I need to get a home buyer coach. So the first part of our program is that home buyer coaching or counseling. That's where we sit down with you individually and confidentially to look at your unique credit profile and say, okay, what exactly do you need to do to get yourself to a state where you can be pre-approved for a mortgage? And we're going to help you develop an action plan to get you exactly there. And we're going to meet with you regularly to make sure that you're staying on track. Now, listen, real life happens, and we know that. Things may happen that get you off track, but don't let that get you discouraged. We are here to get you back on track and keep you moving forward through this process. The things that are worth the most in this life take some hard work to get through. So it's very common for you to encounter problems and issues as you go through this process, but that's okay. Don't be afraid to say, hey, I got sidetracked. This came up, that came up. We need to revise my action plan so I can keep things moving forward. That's what we're here to do. So like I said, the goal of that home buyer coaching is to get you to the point where you can be pre-approved for a mortgage. We work with many great lending partners, one of them, which you're going to hear from today, in Tamara. And as we're working to get you to pre-approval, we're talking to Tamara and we're saying, hey, we got a great customer for you. And this is what they're looking for. And as soon as we have everything together, we're going to send you this package so that we can get this family pre-approved. After you get pre-approved at ACTS, we do also have a real estate arm, but there are tons of great realtors in the city, like Sonia, who also works with ACTS on a regular basis. And so if you don't have a real estate agent, we have a full real estate brokerage where you can find an agent that's going to work with you, that's going to respect you, that's going to respect how much money you've been pre-approved for, and what you believe is affordable and what your needs are for you and your family. And they're going to go out there and they're going to take you shopping. That really is the fun part. So after you go shopping, and that real estate agent, that's the third person in your square. Okay. I told you need a team of 4. It's you, your home buyer coach. They've helped you get to pre-approval. Now you need that third person, your realtor, who can take you shopping to find that perfect house for you and your family. And then finally, for us at ACTS, we have another arm, and that's our ACTS Lending and Rehab. We have a great program at ACTS that really makes us different from a lot of the other home buyer coaching agencies, and it's that we have a lending arm. Now, we're not here to replace banks. Our loans are exclusively for you to buy distressed and city foreclosed properties. And if you choose to get a loan through us to do that, we match you up with a rehab coach who's actually going to help you get through that renovation process and get you and your family into this home once it's fully renovated. And our goal is to do that within 6 months of you purchasing the house. We also defer your payments, your mortgage payments, for 6 months, because we understand that there's a lot of people in our community who can't pay to be in 2 places at once. So while you're still renting for a little while and you're working on this house, you're just worried about paying that rent, and you've got 6 months to get that house finished with your rehab coach being your guide, and we can get you in there and you're just paying to live at one place at a time, which I think is really important when you're choosing to take on a rehab project. But there's a lot of different ways to get to the same destination. For some people, the best option is to work with a great bank like Associated and get that move-in ready home. But if you've got that willingness and desire to do a rehab, we are definitely here to get you through that process, and make sure that as you go through this process, you are getting all of the benefits that you are eligible for. We take a lot of pride at ACTS in making sure the families we work with don't leave any money on the table. One of the benefits of working with a home buyer coach is that we actually administer multiple types of down payment assistance that will help you with your closing costs and down payment for that home purchase. And nothing gives me more pleasure than giving out the government's money to make more homeowners here in our city. So that's a part of our job we love, and we're going to make sure every family we serve does not leave a dollar on the table and is getting all of that money towards those benefits. And we're going to make sure you're working with a lender who will take that money too. Tamara over at Associated, she already knows. They take all of our grants, and that's a reason that we refer a lot of families to them, because on top of the fact that they have great products, internal down payment assistance and grant programs, they will let us layer additional grants on top of that we offer here at ACTS. So this is why you need to work with a home buyer coaching agency. I'm betting that I've told somebody on this call something that they didn't know before. You got to put together that team. You, your home buyer coach, your lender, and your real estate agent, all working together to help you reach your goal of home ownership. And when you put together the right team, you get to the finish line. Next slide. So big message for everybody from me is that home ownership is achievable. Here in Milwaukee, we've helped over 3,200 families through our program purchase homes. And a lot of these families started this process not sure that they could even do this. I promise you that where there's a will, there's a way. We are here to support you, and you can do this. There's nothing worse, you guys, than the soft bigotry of low expectations. You can achieve home ownership if you want that. There are agencies and people who are here to support you in that, and we will get you there. Rents are going up, y'all. Rents went up 18% on average. The average, when you do this process correctly, the way that we at ACTS hope you are willing to do it, we're trying to put you in a situation where you're paying less for your home than you were for rent. And on average, our families are paying $868 a month. My son was in college in a tiny 1-bedroom apartment, and I was paying $750 a month for him. Right now, I know for a fact there are people who are not even thrilled with the place that they're renting, but they're paying $1,000 a month for it. If you're doing that, you can own a home. Call us, get in touch with us. Let's figure out how to make that happen for you. This slide really just tells you about the quickest path to get through our program. Sometimes people on these webinars are at different points in the process. Maybe you've already been working with a realtor. Maybe you're already pre-approved. It's still really important for you to get that pre-purchase education so that you can talk to a home buyer coach so we can make sure that you are getting any grants that your household may be eligible for. Again, there's some great programs happening right now. I know Ben Sanchez at the city is going to talk about some of them. So I'm going to allow him to do that, but don't leave money on the table. And if you don't work with a home buyer coaching agency, you are leaving money on the table. I can guarantee you that. So no matter where you're at in the process, it's a good idea to reach out to one of these home buyer agencies that are HUD certified, get your pre-purchase education done, and get a grant assessment done to make sure that if you are eligible for some of these benefits that are out here right now, you're getting them. So finally, just thank you again for the opportunity to talk to you guys tonight. Obviously, home ownership is important to you. That's why you're sitting on this call right now and taking time out of your busy day and your schedule to find out more about this. Unfortunately, I'm not able to stay on the whole webinar, but I am going to put in the chat contact information for ACTS Housing. And everybody on this call is really familiar with ACTS Housing. So don't be afraid to ask questions, follow up with us. After the fact. We are excited and really want to work with you to get you into home ownership if that's your goal. And if that is your goal, the first place you start is with a home buyer coaching agency. Even if it's not ACTS, you go to UCC, you go to HRI, you go to SDC, but you make sure that you have a home buyer coach on your team that's going to help guide you through this process and make sure you don't leave any money on the table. And I thank y'all for your attention.
Thanks so much, Dee. Really appreciate you taking the time to walk us through the square.
Yeah. Gotta do the square. Gotta
Square.
have your team.
That
Gotta
was
have your team.
really, really informative. And yes, the very, very first stop is at one of the home buying counseling agencies that we have here locally.
All right,
Next,
guys. Sorry to sign off.
thanks so much, Dee.
Night.
Really appreciate you taking the time this evening. Next up is Ben Sanchez from the City of Milwaukee, and he's going to talk about some of the programs that the city has available to all of the home buyers in the city. Ben?
Thank you, Heather. Good afternoon or good evening or good morning if you're watching this presentation as a recording. Thank you for taking time to actually view this information. It is very valuable information for individuals that are starting the process of buying a home. Heather, I appreciate you putting this event together for us to be able to present information on behalf of the City of Milwaukee. I am with the department named Neighborhood Improvement Development Corporation. This department is housed within the Department of City Development. So we work with a lot of different individuals. We work with community partners such as Axe Housing and other organizations. We work with banks and financial institutions such as Tamara Castle with Associated Bank and many other partner banks and financial institutions. We also work with individuals that are owning a home already and that have emergencies that need essential repairs. We work with developers or investors that are starting the process of becoming a developer. We work with developers or investors that are experienced. We work with small scale developers, large scale developers. We work with existing mom and pop individuals that own a duplex that are renting a property. We also want to actually work with home buyers within the City of Milwaukee and to help them achieve their goal of home ownership. There were a couple questions in the chat that I'll address really quickly. Eric had a question regarding what are the home ownership rates within Milwaukee? As of the most recent Community Development Alliance report, there is a very severe racial inequity in home ownership. So in the City of Milwaukee, about 55.8% of white, not Hispanic individuals own a home. About 37.5% Hispanic or Latino individuals and families own a home, and about 27% of Black or African American families own a home within the City of Milwaukee. So our goal is to actually help close that gap and help additional individuals that are looking to purchase a home be able to afford a home. There are many initiatives happening within the City of Milwaukee that have not launched yet, but keep an eye out on the news because we are going to be having many programs launch within the next several years that will create opportunities for affordable homeownership. Today, I'm mainly going to be talking about the programs that exist at the moment. If we can move on to the next slide, please, Heather. So today I'm just talking about the home ownership opportunities. Within our department, we do work with about 10 to 12 different programs. I'm mainly going to focus on the top 3 that relate to home buying. We do have the Home Buyer Assistance Program, and that is a program that can help with anywhere between $20,000 to $25,000 to help fix a home that's a city tax foreclosed home, and it assists with the ability of fixing the home. It's not the financing part of buying the home, but we help you fix the home. When we look at this program, we look at the purchasability, the cost of purchasing the home, plus the cost of rehabbing the home, and we determine how much money you need. And the maximum assistance we offer is up to $20,000. In some instances, we have $25,000. There is one program that we do not promote because it's on a limited basis. And for you taking the time today, if you have a family member or child that is below the age of 6, there is a lead risk reduction initiative program that is combined with the home buyer assistance program. Again, this is a very limited program. That program can assist with an additional $20,000 in addition to the home buyer assistance program. If you have any child under the age of 6, and I always say, if you're not really sure if your child qualifies, just give us a call because there is a possibility that we may be able to consider even a child that may be a little bit older, as long as they live in the household with you once the home is rehabilitated. So in this example that I'm providing you, if there's a house that needs repair, let's say it costs $5,000 to purchase, and let's say it costs about $95,000 to fix it, that means that you're going to need about $100,000 to purchase and fix that home, as an example. With our programs, we can help you in that example that I gave you with the lead risk reduction initiative with up to $40,000 of that money to fix the home. In addition, as you work with a housing counseling agency such as Axe Housing, Housing Resources, the Social Development Commission, Green Path, or other HUD-approved counseling agencies such as United Community Center, they do administer programs that are for down payment and closing cost assistance. So in addition to the $40,000 that I was just talking about, potentially $40,000, you can potentially receive an additional $5,000 to $7,000 for down payment and closing costs. And that really truly depends on where you're planning on purchasing the house. So as you work with your counseling agency, they can kind of look at what program you qualify for and how much money and assistance you qualify for. That's what Dee was talking about a little bit more in detail. There was a question in the chat also addressing, are there income limits to provide home buyer counseling? For home buying counseling, there are no income limits per se. So if you make a lot of money and you just need the guidance to go through the process, that's okay. There may be some limits, however, to qualify for some programs. For the down payment assistance, there are some limits, typically up to 80% of the area county median income or area median income. And those income limits will be discussed with you as you work with your counselor at one of those counseling agencies to determine if you qualify for some of the programs. With the Milwaukee Home Down Payment Assistance Program, there is a limit of 80% of the area median income. However, with the first program that I just talked about, the Home Buyer Assistance Program, there is no limit. You can make 6 figures. However, you can still qualify for that program. There is no limit on the Home Buyer Assistance Program in terms of income. If we can move on to the other slide, that will start going into a little bit more detail about the programs. So the Home Buyer Assistance Program, as I indicated, it provides funding to help prospective homeowners rehabilitate foreclosed homes they will occupy as a primary residence. Fully forgivable home buyer assistance, second mortgages of up to $20,000 are available to assist eligible home buyers with rehabilitations of city-owned tax foreclosures. The home buyer assistance is limited to no more than 1/2 of the total cost of the purchase price and rehab of the property. If we can move on to the next slide, please. This goes a little bit more in detail into that program that I just talked about. That's the Milwaukee Home Down Payment Assistance Program. So we talked about the 2 different levels of potentially $5,000. Those are available up to a citywide scale. Now the $7,000 availability is only if you are purchasing within the boundaries of the community development block grant area. That program area is relatively large, and it covers probably more than 50% of the city of Milwaukee boundaries. So as you work with that counseling agency, they'll be able to identify if you qualify for either the $5,000 or $7,000. One thing that I do need to say is if you're kind of hesitating about starting this process, I would get on top of starting the process as soon as possible because those funds run out relatively quickly. So it's very important to get started as quickly as possible. So the home must be purchased for owner occupancy and buyer must live in the home for a period of 5 years at minimum for this program to be fully forgivable. You may, if you owned a home in the past, however, you stopped owning a home for more than 3 years, you still would qualify as a first-time home buyer. You do need to complete at minimum the 8 hours of home buyer counseling education through a HUD-approved counseling agency to be able to qualify for the assistance. And like I said, there are income restrictions regarding this particular program. If we can move on to the next slide, please. We do work with responsible investors who are agreeing to provide affordable housing for individuals that actually are income eligible. And this is a program for investors that are trying to fix houses to create affordable home ownership. So that means that we're looking at individuals that can create rents that are affordable for a family that may make less than 60% of the area median income within the city of Milwaukee. With the rental rehabilitation loan program, we do have two opportunities available. We have an opportunity if you're trying to purchase a city-owned tax foreclosure. We also have an opportunity if you are an existing homeowner and you own a property within a targeted investment neighborhood. So if you're not really sure, just give us a call. I'll share that information at the end of the presentation. There needs to be at minimum 2 units, and that would be 2 bedrooms to qualify per unit. And we do look at the property debt in comparison to its value, and we look at a cash flow analysis to determine if this particular program would fit your needs. There is a maximum assistance of up to $14,999 per unit. So let's say you're trying to buy a 4-unit property. We can help you with up to close to $60,000 to help you fix that investment property that you're trying to fix. In regards to the program, it is a matching dollar for dollar program. So if we're helping you with up to close to $60,000, that means that you need to invest at minimum close to $60,000. There are additional guidelines that apply, and if you're interested in this program, please visit our website. We will have a QR scanning code at the end of my presentation where you can take a picture of that and it'll take you directly to our website. If we can move on to the next slide, please. The positive about working with our department is that we provide technical assistance. We have rehab specialists on staff. They perform thorough inspections of the properties. We develop scopes of work of what needs to be done on the property. We help the buyer, the homeowner, or investor with the bidding process. We can make information publicly available for contractors to contact you. And we use either a bidding desk at the office or an online bidding desk where we push notifications to all contractors within the city of Milwaukee, alerting them there are projects to bid on at our department. We perform inspections on a regular basis throughout the process to make sure that the work is performed correctly. We help gather the correct documentation such as lien waivers, receipts, and payment forms to make sure that the contractor is paid for work that has been done in a satisfactory manner. The greatest point of this is that all of our services are free to any potential buyers, homeowners, or investors. This is something that does not get offered to anyone that you go to at any other agency or any other part. If you work with a contractor, if you work with a counseling agency, they may charge you funds to actually perform these services. At the City of Milwaukee, we offer these services for free. If we can move on to the next slide, please. Here's information on the corner, on the upper left-hand corner, you'll see that QR code. So if you want to take a moment, you can take a snap picture of that and it'll take you directly to our website. If you don't have that capability or capacity, you can definitely visit our website at nidc.milwaukee.gov. And that's our email. Or you can visit our website at milwaukee.gov/NIDC. You can contact us at the office at 414-286-5610. And I would highly encourage you to visit our Facebook and Instagram pages where you can follow all of the latest information and programs that we release on a regular basis. Heather, again, thank you for your time. And if there are any other questions, I can definitely answer those at the end of the presentation. For those of you that are live on the presentation, I'll drop the website right in the chat as well in case you're not able to do that QR code. Thank you.
Great. Thanks so much, Ben. Really appreciate that. Very informative. Next up is a representative of one of our financial institution members. As you can see, we work with a number of lenders locally. And if you want to learn more about who those lenders are, you can go to the website. So joining us this evening is Tamara Castle from Associated Bank. Tamara, you're going to talk a little bit about the lending process.
Yes. Hi, everybody. I'm Tamara Castle, and I'm with Associated Bank. So I'm a CRA loan officer, which means I'm more of a community loan officer. So I deal with first-time buyers, second-time buyers. I also can do all kinds of other type of loans like construction, but my focus is community, doing seminars and reaching out to people to see if they can get pre-approved for a mortgage loan. Go ahead to the next slide. So one of the most important things about getting pre-approved is documentation. It's so important. On my desk, I literally have 20 people. We're waiting on documentation. Start looking at these type of documents and see where it is. You know, where are your tax returns? How do you get access to your pay stubs? Do you have access to your bank statements on your apps? Did you file bankruptcy? Where is the bankruptcy? Things of that nature. Right here is just a list of the basic documents that you need. Obviously, a lot of customers may have additional things that they have going on. Today, I did an application where the customer is getting paid monthly from Potawatomi winnings. And that happens. Don't happen to me, but it happens. And we use that income so she knows how to get her documentation of her getting that monthly income from her winnings. So start looking at where your documents are. Make sure that you keep documents with you, keep them updated. Because once we get started on that pre-approval, it's time to get things rolling, and we need the documentation to get you pre-approved. We're verifying all your information. So please, as you're looking at these basic lists of documents, start thinking about where those documents are, because once you connect with the loan officer, or like Dee at X Housing may transfer your file to me, she will have those documents. These are the same documents that the organization asks for. So please, I use this slide first all the time because it's very important. Start looking for those documents. Your lender is going to need them to get you pre-approved. Go ahead to the next slide. So we're going to go over just the basics of what a lender is looking for in order to get that 30-year mortgage loan. There's a lot of different things involved, and I know it can sound daunting, but as you're working with Dee with X Housing, they will get you ready to come to me, and also I will get you ready to go to them. So we do a lot of transfers that way, but let's go over the main basic things that the mortgage company is looking to get you pre-approved. So the first thing is character. That is your credit. We're looking at, do you pay your bills on time? Now for Associated Bank, our score limitation is 620. So you have to have at least a 620 score. If you're working with another lender, please ask your lender what the minimum score is. We're looking for 620. So I put that on our presentation. So we're looking at your credit reports, and we're looking at your scores, and we're looking to see in the last 12 months, have you paid your bills on time? So please start looking at that. Your credit cards, your car loans, things of that nature. It's time to start making sure that those are on time, because as a lender, we're looking to see your character and your behaviors on your other bills so that we can now loan you this new money for your house. The next thing that we look at is capacity. That is the purchase price of the house. How much can I afford? That is the number one question I get when I get a customer to call me is, well, Tamara, how much are you going to give me? Well, we're looking at certain things, right? And we don't get into much detail in the seminars, but your counselor at the HUD agencies and your loan officer will be able to go through this. But I want to give you at least an idea of what we're looking for. So we're looking at your gross monthly income, gross being before your taxes. So we're looking at that income, and then we're looking at your minimum payments of the things that's on your credit report. So for instance, Capital One credit card, let's say you have a balance of $1,000 and your monthly payment is $50. That's your minimum payment that's shown on the credit report. Well, Tamara, I pay $100, $200, or maybe I even pay off the credit card. That's okay. And actually that's great that you do that. We're just looking at when we pull a credit report, is there a minimum payment, and we use that as your debt. So then we come up with a equation to determine how much of a house you can afford. So I'll give an example of two people work at the same job, making the same salary, same credit score. But one person has 2 car notes and the other person has no car notes, nothing at all, no credit cards, nothing. The person that has the minimum monthly payments with the car notes is going to get lent less than the person that doesn't have any debt at all, because that money is going to Toyota, Ford, whoever your car notes is going to. So then we're lending you less funds than the person that has no debt at all. So everybody that's going to be different as far as how much you can afford, because it depends on how much your monthly debt is. So when we look at your credit report and we look at the minimum payment, that's how we determine how much you can afford. The next thing that we look at is collateral. So we do look at you, but we also look at the house. So I ask you, what type of house are you trying to purchase? How much is it worth? So you might be out there shopping for a single family, duplex, condo. You might be interested in manufactured homes, a 4-unit apartment building. So we look at first, what type of house are you looking for? Then once you have an accepted offer, we send out an appraiser. Now that person is separate from the home inspection. The appraiser is looking at how much is your house worth, which is the market, right? So the seller might say, my house is worth $200,000 and I'm selling it for $200,000. Once we send out the appraiser, he or she is going to look at the market and look at all the other houses in that neighborhood that's just like the house you want to buy and see how much they sold for, is the key word, sold for, not for sale for, but it's sold. So if the house right next door to the house you want to buy is sold for 150, but the house you want to buy is 200, the bank is only going to loan you how much that house is worth. So now your house is only worth 150. So then we would reach out to the realtor, and the realtor is going to be speaking next, is to ask that seller to bring down the value of that property because it's not worth the 200,000. So we make sure that the house, and we're lending you the funds based off of, is it actually worth how much the seller is selling it for? So the appraisal is very important. So if it doesn't appraise out, we can't loan out the funds. But most sellers are pretty smart to bring down that price, because when the next person look at the house, the next appraiser come out, it's still going to be worth that 150 at this time. So please look at that. Think about that. Think about what type of house, what neighborhoods you're looking for as far as value to the property that you're going to buy, because the bank is also looking at that. We're also looking at capital. Capital is money, and we're going back to you. So we're looking at your savings. And I remember being a counselor in the past, that was always the cringe moment in the appointment is, I don't want to show her my bank statements. So this is the time to start thinking about, if you're looking to purchase a home, start thinking about that savings. You know, we're looking at all your bank accounts. We're looking at your retirement funds. You might have a 401k. You might have a Roth account. You might have a money market. Your grandmother might be giving you a gift to purchase, you know, cash gift. And we look at all that, and that's your capital. So start looking at that. And and I always get, well, Tamara, I can't save anything. I don't have any money saved, but I really want to purchase. So I always say, I put on my counselor hat, and I always say, start looking at your bank statements and look at what you're spending on monthly. Because I'm telling you now, if you look at my bank statement, unfortunately, Amazon. And that's just my, you know, now that we're all pretty much remote, I'm tending to lean towards Amazon. But I know the savings is there, because half the stuff I buy on Amazon, I don't even need it, right? So I know I can save more money if I choose that. So start looking at what you spend on and start going over that stuff and see, what do you really need? What do you really want? And then look at, you know, is Amazon more important than the house you want to purchase? Going out to eat, Starbucks. I love coffee, but I buy my Starbucks at the store, put in the machine, and now I got my Starbucks at home. It's way cheaper, and it's savings. So start thinking about that, thinking about it with your family. I got my kids involved when I purchased my home to say, hey, we got to cut off the cable because we're trying to save up so you can have your birthday parties in the backyard free and without the landlord checking us out and all that. So start looking at that, because the banks want to see that you have your own funds. We also have grants. We're going to talk about that in a little bit, but just start looking at that. And start thinking about what you can put to the side for savings for this purchase. Go ahead to the next slide. So with the monthly payment, everybody always asks, well, what's involved with the monthly payment? I heard there's multiple pieces to the monthly payment, and it is. So we call it PITI, principal, interest, the property taxes, and your homeowners insurance. That is the basis of your monthly payment. And we also have private mortgage insurance, and I'm going to explain that in a little bit. So principal is the actual loan itself, how much you're borrowing, right? The interest is how much the bank is charging you. So please, I'll say this now with the interest rates. I know everybody's paying attention to this on the news, on YouTube, Facebook, wherever. Rates are rising right now. And that's okay. When I purchased, it was high then, and it came down, and then it comes back up. So it's always coming in waves. If this is your time to purchase, go ahead and purchase, because I purchased when it was high, and I'm fine. You know what I mean? And I love it. I didn't want to wait to see if the market's going to change. So just keep that in mind, that the interest rates are climbing, but it's still a profitable market out here to purchase. Okay, so I just want to say that real quick about interest rates. So the interest is how much the bank is charging you for the loan. Then the taxes, that's how much the city, the village that is charging you for that property on that land. Then there's the homeowners insurance. Homeowners insurance is to cover you if there was someone would steal something out your house, if someone got injured on your house. Those are the kind of things that covers you with your homeowners insurance. Private mortgage insurance. Now this can be added to your monthly payment by the lender, and it's an insurance to cover the lender if you default. So when you're talking to your mortgage company or your lender or your bank, local bank, ask them, are they charging a private mortgage insurance, PMI? Now you heard that acronym here so that you can be more savvier when you're talking on the phone with your lender and say, hey, do you guys have PMI? And if they say yes, then just know that that's an extra piece that's added to your monthly payment to cover the bank if you default, if you don't put 20% down. So again, ask your bank. If not all banks charge this, but some banks do. It's called private mortgage insurance. They might call it MI, but look out for that. But the most important piece of your monthly payment is principal, interest, taxes, insurance. Once you lock your rate, your principal interest stay the same for the whole 30 years. The taxes can fluctuate yearly, and of course your insurance can fluctuate. So your monthly payment can change on a yearly basis, but it's only based off of the taxes and insurance because your principal and interest is locked in. That will never change. Go ahead to the next slide. So with Associated Bank, now I'm going to just talk about our products and what we have to offer. And that's why I said you would want to ask your bank if they have mortgage insurance or private mortgage insurance. Associated Bank has a special in-house product just for us that we give to our customers. Most of my customers get Care, that's the name of the product, that has no mortgage insurance. We do not charge that extra piece. So you don't have to put 20% down. You put the 3% down on a single family and not have that mortgage insurance added on. Our Care also expands on credit guidelines. Now, the score is a little different, so I'm gonna go over that chart at the bottom, but as far as credit guidelines, you don't even need a credit score. Let's say when we pull credit, it says 000 because you never had any credit at all. We can do you under Care and we don't need a credit score. And the reason why we can do that is because we will take non-traditional credit that is not on your credit report, but you're paying it monthly. And the number one thing is rent. We will call your landlord to see if you've been on time for rent. That's trade line number one. So we need at least 4. So we look at things like, and the easiest things is looking at your bank statement again, Hulu, Netflix, car insurance, life insurance, cable, Wi-Fi, cell phone. These are all things that you pay monthly, but it's not reporting to your credit bureau. We call that non-traditional credit. An Associated Bank will accept non-traditional credit if you have nothing on your credit report. So just keep that in mind. So when people say, well, you can't buy a house because you have no credit score, that's not true with certain banks. And Associated Bank is one of the banks that will allow non-traditional credit, as long as it's in your name and you're paying it on time. Because remember, we still want you to pay it on time. So make sure that Spectrum, AT&T, Sprint, whoever you have is on time, and we can use that as a line of credit for you to purchase. Now with our Care, with that chart right there, if you're buying a single family, because we're taking a lot of risk by not doing that insurance and expanding the guidelines, the score goes a little higher. So with a single family, 3% down, 640 score. Duplex, 5% down, 670 score. So we do absorb that risk, but we do have to increase the score, the credit score, in order to get our Care product. But again, pretty much 75% of my customers fall into this and they're able to get into that mortgage without having to deal with, I don't have any credit, Tamara, I still want to purchase. So we use Care a lot with Associated Bank. And again, if this fits your criteria, we can work with you with that. Associated Bank also have funds. So we have funds called PATH. This is a gift. So it's not something that you have to stay in the house for a certain amount of years. It is coming out of our actual pocket. So it's $4,000 from Associated Bank to help you with the down payment and closing costs. The requirements for it is home buying education with one of the HUD certification agencies. So working with ACTS, we get the certificate that you did their class. You come to me for the pre-approval. We get you pre-approved. And if your income, so the income guideline is there, $75,500 gross per year. Now that's for Milwaukee County. Every county has a different amount. But for us, Associated Bank, Milwaukee County, as long as you gross, remember gross is before taxes, under $75,500, you will receive our gift. You never have to pay back Associated Bank that gift. Once you walk out for closing, you never have to pay that back. Now, as Dee's mentioned before, they have grant funds for their down payment and closing costs, which have a different guideline, but we can layer it with our PATH funds. You can get her money plus the PAF funds, our PAF funds. We also partnered with Ben with his funds, the 7,000 or 5,000 city funds, which means you have 3 layers of down payment and closing cost assistance, which is awesome. When that city program came out, it's flying. Almost all my customers are getting those funds, which is awesome. So we get to layer the down payment closing costs because we partner with everybody, with the counseling agency, with the City of Milwaukee. So again, Associated Bank funds, $4,000 gift. This is our guideline, and we can also layer with the other agencies and the City of Milwaukee funds. So that's great. Go ahead to the next slide, which I believe is the end. So I just wanted to give a general idea for you guys to see what the banks are looking for in order to get you pre-approved. This is my information here. Again, you can always call me, email me, fax. I mean, my e-fax is there. It goes straight to my laptop. My website, if you're ready to apply, you can go straight to the website. If you don't want to talk, some customers don't, I never even speak to them. They go straight to the website and they do everything on their own, which is, no problem. Or you can call me and we'll walk you through the application and your documentation. You can also walk into any Associated Bank branch and ask for Tamara and they will connect you to me. We can work on Teams or we can do on the phone, and we can also meet at the branch. So again, thank you so much for having me here and partnering with everybody here on the call. And again, if you have any questions, I'll still be here at the end.
Great. Thanks so much, Tamara. That was really helpful.
You're welcome.
All right. Next, we're going to hear from one of the real estate agents that is a member of Take Root. We have a number, about a dozen realtors that are also part of Take Root Milwaukee. So you're, again, welcome to go to the website and take a look at that. We have with us this evening Sonia Mays. And Sonia, you also have one of your real estate agents with you to assist you, April Bates. Is that correct, Sonia?
Yes, that is correct. April Bates.
Great. All right. Well, the two of you can do your presentation and talk a little bit about the realtor's process in buying a home.
Great. Thank you so much, Heather. And to my distinguished panelists, it's an honor and a pleasure to serve alongside you this evening, and welcome to our distinguished guest. Thank you so much for tuning in. And again, my name is Sonia Mays. I'm the broker owner at Midwest Executive Realty in Milwaukee. And I also have with me April Bates, and you'll be hearing from her shortly. So I'm going to touch on the bullet points that you see on your screen. And I'll talk a little bit about what the realtor's role is in your home buying process. How do you find a realtor and why you should use a realtor? And then April Bates is going to chime in and talk about the buyer agency role and a few other pointers to assist the home buyers in that process. So first bullet point on the slide, what is a realtor? Well, according to the National Association of Realtors, a realtor is a real estate professional who is a member of the National Association of Realtors and subscribes to its strict code of ethics. So again, it is a real estate professional that is a member of the National Association of Realtors and subscribes to the code of ethics. So the association is a 1.4 million member organization. It's one of the largest trade organizations in the country, and it is has a strict code of ethics that we abide by. So that's the definition of realtor. And then what is the realtor's role? So as realtors, we're here to guide you through the home buying process, to help you find a home and search for a home. And we're here to help you meet your home buying objectives while staying within your budget. We serve as resources. We're part of that team that Ms. Kemp mentioned earlier. We're a piece of that square, if you remember the analogy there and the visual. And so we work with the different organizations and resources to help you locate a home in that process. We also help to identify some of the local amenities, attractions, and features that you may be looking for. And then again, we help connect you to the tools and resources that you need to purchase your new home. Next bullet says that when should you contact a realtor? That's a good question. So as soon as you approve a letter from Ms. Castle over at Associated Bank, that's when you should contact a realtor. So what you should do is have let your lender know what real estate agent you're working with, and then give them your real estate agent's contact information, email address, and then she'll send over a copy of your pre-approval letter to the agent. And but she will need your permission to do so. And so the reason that that's important, and the reason that we need a copy of that letter, is so that we can identify the terms of your loan when we are getting ready to write the offer on the house. So we'll have to fill in all of this information from that pre-approval letter on the offer contract. So main thing is we need to know how much you're approved for, right? Before we go shopping. So, you know, if you're approved for 100,000 or 150 or 200, then we don't want to exceed the amount that you're approved for when we set up, and we don't want to exceed that price. So it's important that that we have information and also know what type of loan it is. If it's an FHA or a pre-approved conventional loan, that's kind of important for us to know because we will be looking for certain criteria and parameters in that house depending on what type of loan it is. So we want to set up a search criteria to meet those objectives in helping you to locate the home that you desire. How do you find a realtor? Most people shop online. About 99% individuals shop online. If you are shopping online, I would recommend that you go to realtor.com. It is a trusted website, or you can attend one of these great home buying workshops to connect with trusted professionals in the real estate industry. And remember, folks, it's all about networking and being connected to the resources. So again, we connect with these great organizations and the people that you just heard from to help navigate you through that home buying process. And so we want to be here to support your goals, to help support your objectives. And again, think about your professional team, right? So your specialized team. We're here to support you and again, help navigate through that process so that you can achieve home ownership. Last bullet point is why a realtor? Why should you use a realtor? It's another great question that I want to answer here. So you want a professional who knows the real estate industry, who knows the language, the jargon. There's a lot of different real estate terms that are thrown around in the real estate contracts and in the real estate industry in general. So you want a professional who's familiar with the industry and with the terms, and again, navigating through that process. You want a third party who's objective and who will be able to provide an unbiased opinion on the transaction so that you can make an informed decision, because again, this is the largest purchase that you'll make. So you want someone, number one, who's in your corner and who can be objective, because sometimes in these situations, things can, emotions can run amoot. And so you want someone who's objective and again, that can help you stay focused on the task at hand. And so again, we'll help you search the database and we'll sign you up through MLS, the MLS search portal to help locate those properties that fall within your criteria. Now, hopefully most of you have heard of the MLS and you know what MLS stands for. It is the Multiple Listing Service, and it is a database of all of the properties and listings that are available for sale on the market. And it is also for Realtor members. So we do sign up for this membership. We do pay a monthly fee for it, and it is an up-to-date database. So it also involves offers of compensation and cooperation. So what it says is that we agree to cooperate with other realtors and brokerages, and then they agree to compensate us based on the commission structure, which is paid by the seller at closing. So what this does, again, it provides a database of all of the listings that are on the market throughout the state of Wisconsin. We can zero in our search parameters based on the criteria that you give us. So let's say you are looking for a house in a particular neighborhood or a certain area, zip code area. We can tune in on that area. If you're looking for a single family, or let's say you want a ranch house, one story, bedrooms with a 2-car garage, we can type in that criteria or select the certain criteria and then set up a search parameter for you, and then you will receive information as soon as it becomes available for viewers, buyers alike. So we provide that information for you. And I did want to point out also that if you do see another property and if it's listed with another company, we can still show you that property. So you can still contact your real estate agent and have them set up a showing for you. Doesn't matter who it's listed with. If it's listed with another company, again, we can show any property that's listed in the MLS database, because again, we agree to cooperate with other brokers and realtors once we sign up and become a member of the NLS and the National Association of Realtors. So don't hesitate to contact us if you see a property out there. It has a different yard sign in the yard, or it's listed with another company. We can still show you that property. And so again, we want to be in your corner. We'll fight for you when it comes to the offer negotiations, in helping you get the best price and terms. Now we know that we're still in this market, this seller's market, and so it's even more important that you have a representative and a realtor on your side that's fighting for you, that's a part of that team, that's going to cheer for you and help you to you want, because to be honest, it's not like you buy a house every day, right? You don't buy a home every day, every year, unless you're balling like that. I don't know. Unless you're an investor, but you don't buy a house every day. It's not something you do every day or every year, maybe once, twice in a lifetime, right? For your primary residence. So again, it's not something you do every day, every year, but that's why we want to stay on top of everything for you. We want to stay up to date, keep you up to date. We're going to be doing a lot of work behind the scenes, a lot of paperwork that's involved. We're going to be working with your lender, with the inspectors, with contractors, making sure that they have access to the property, setting up showings, viewings, and things of that nature, making sure that all of the other involved parties are getting the documentation that they need, and just making sure that we're facilitating the transaction to get you into your new home as quickly as possible. And guess what? The services are for free. You don't pay us anything. We have to earn our commission. We don't get paid until closing, and typically it's paid out of the seller's proceeds. Now, many times we will require you to sign a buyer agency, which April Bates will talk more about. And that is so that we can work for you and represent you. And so you'll hear more about that shortly. But of course, lastly, as I close this slide out, are we on the next slide here? Okay. Lastly, we just want to, provide fair and ethical and professional services to all of our clients and customers. And we take that extra step by becoming a realtor and becoming a member of the Realtor Association. So again, thank you so much for your time. And on that note, I will turn the baton over to our very distinguished real estate agent and real estate professional, realtor Miss April Bates, who's going to talk about the buyer agency role and touch on some other points. So at this time, April Bates, and her name is April Bates, not Sonia Mays.
Hello, everyone. I just want to say thank you for having me on this evening, and I will speak on what is a buyer representation. And like Sonia said just a few minutes ago, that's a buyer agency agreement, and that gives the agent and his firm exclusive rights to act as the agent of the buyer. So as an agent of the buyer, that gives us rights to show you properties, schedule properties. It also gives us rights to evaluate properties, negotiate and for you, put in the offers for you. And it also, instead of buyer agency agreement, just allows us to represent you and your interests. So that's what a buyer agency is. And that also, as an agent, that we build a team. So we're working for you on your behalf. So that agreement just gives us the rights to work for you, and also to, like, again, to show you properties and view properties and to negotiate and to submit offers for you. How can a realtor assist the home buyer? As a realtor, we work with home buyers in locating properties, again, that fits your criteria. We set up an MLS search, and Sonia talked about what an MLS is. We schedule showings. Again, we will submit offers for you. We negotiate price with the seller, and we also work closely with the inspectors, with lenders, and we just help navigate the process, the home buying process for you and with you. Putting in an offer, contract, and contingencies. I'm sorry, I kind of skipped one. Finding your home. We, as agents, we help set up search perimeters and MLS based on your pre-approval amounts. We also will take in account any special requests, and we honor those requests that may be location where you would like to live, what neighborhoods you may want to live in, how many bedrooms you may be looking for, or how many baths you may want, if you want a garage, all these different type of requirements you may have. We as agents, we help you find those different requirements you may have. And we will search for those, and we definitely will work hard to make sure we accommodate you and your special requirements that you may have in looking for a home. Putting in an offer and contingency. After you find that special, wonderful home that you're looking for, and you say, this is the one, then we, as a realtor, we will write the offer for you. We will suggest a good price to offer. We negotiate with the seller to help you get your offer accepted. And we will run comps for you, so we can, better help you in suggesting a good asking price for that home that you want to put an offer in. The next one, working through contingencies. There may be contingencies in an offer, such as inspection contingency, financing, appraisal contingency, and that means that the offer is subject to passing these contingencies. So as an agent, we will help navigate and help you with those to get through those contingencies and make sure you're making those deadlines that were set with those contingencies. And again, we work closely with you because we're a team. Our goal is your goal, and that's to get you to the closing table. So we work as a team, and we will make sure as an agent that we will make all those contingency deadlines. And the closing on your home. Now, this is the best part of this whole home buying process is closing on your home. And at closing, that's when you get to sign all your final documents. You receive your closing statement, and you usually get those like a couple of days prior to close. And that usually contains all the final costs of everything, your costs, the seller's costs. And so during that process, if everything is looking right, we will set the close. And that's when you sign all your documents and you'll get that home that you've been longing for, that you've been working hard for. And again, we work as a team, as agents, we work as a team with you, and we want to see you at that point. So this is the best and exciting time. Is closing day, and that's what we do as agents. We all work together. We work with you because we put your interests first, and we work with the selling agent. We always stay in communication. We stay in communication with the loan officers, and everyone is involved. We're a team, and our goal is to make sure we get to the closing table so you and your family can get that special home that you guys are you want to purchase. You're purchasing. So that's all I have on that. I just want to thank you all for allowing me to speak. And if you have any other questions, I'll be glad to answer. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so much, April. Wonderful. And thank you guys for tuning in and listening again. The next slide shows our Midwest Executive Realty team. Again, my name is Sonia Mays and the broker. And you just heard from April Bates, the realtor. And then we have 3 other wonderful, awesome agents in our office who couldn't be with us today, but they are out busy selling homes. So if you want to go to the next slide, please, Heather, you will see our contact information where you can reach us by phone or email, or you can go to our website at midwestexecutiverealty.com, or feel free to give us a call or shoot us an email. We're happy to answer any other questions and assist you guys further. And we want to be your cheerleaders and your champions and help you get into your new home. So thank you so much. Thank you, Heather.
Great. Thank you so much, Sonia and April. Really appreciate you taking the time this evening to walk us through one of the other sides of the square. We also, Take Root Milwaukee also has a number of community partners and neighborhood groups that are part of the work that we do. And we're going to hear from one of them. We have Jermaine from Sherman Park Community Association that's going to talk a little bit about the role of neighborhood associations and the benefits of being part of a community that has a neighborhood association or a community association and the programs that are available. Jermaine.
Thank you, Heather, and to Take Root as well. And can you hear me? Great. I had to do a microphone check. Thank you to all the panelists, our presenters, and then also for many of you that have joined us. To start off here, I'd like to say that April alluded to, unless you're going to be purchasing a home in a rural area, you're definitely going to be buying a home within a neighborhood. So I'm here to speak to a few great aspects of buying a home within one of the neighborhoods, and then also some of the benefits of purchasing in a neighborhood that has an active community association. I'll be speaking to some of the roles of the community association and also some programs that a community association that you may live near and buy that may offer support to homeowners. So some of the benefits of buying within a neighborhood that has a community association would be that it helps to build community and also respect within the community. Many of the organizations will do many community improvement projects, such as creating murals, helping to build a sense of identity for the neighborhood. So it also helps to, and this will be the next slide, please, Heather. Giving residents a voice, also to help address targeted concerns and issues. So many times there's issues that don't quite rise to the level of calling one of the city departments for help. You want to reach out to the local community association where there may be a community organizer or two, just to reach out and find out, what type of resources may be available that can assist with, just even a resident complaints or any kind of an issue. So it's good to have a, active association to be able to address those concerns with. Also helps improve neighborhood quality of life. I mean, there could be noise or sound issues maybe coming from one of the nearby factories. There may be some pollution in the area. There's not always a specific issue that there's a department that's available to help. So that community association will be there to aid with that assistance. Next slide, please. Some of the roles. The community association can help advocate for the neighborhood with local government to improve neighborhood amenities. Maybe there's an area that has long been considered maybe a food desert. Maybe you want to petition for additional restaurants. Sometimes there's even a need for food banks. No matter what it is, whatever the concerns are of the community, the neighborhood association, community association, I should say, is a positive connection point, and also to help organize specific activities. Maybe you want to do a neighborhood cleanup. Maybe there's an issue with street lighting. So, your first point of contact, being able to have someone to reach out to is always a positive aspect. We can also welcome all residents, regardless of whether they own or rent. A resident is a resident, whether you own your home or you rent. Of course, we like to transition a lot of our renters into becoming a homeowner so that you definitely have a strong foundation, a place to plant your feet for a long time to come. So we also will connect with businesses, schools, churches. So there's many stakeholders in the area that with collaboration, you can help establish a clear foundation for whereas residents, maybe you just moved into the neighborhood and you're not even sure of what's all around. What are the assets of the neighborhood? So an active community association would definitely be your support system. Next slide, please. Some of the programs. So the Sherman Park Sherman Park neighborhood, I should say, we have a neighborhood improvement district. And so what a neighborhood improvement district is it could be the complete neighborhood, or it could be just an area within a neighborhood that has a specific boundary where all of the neighbors are assessed. Generally, it's $50 per unit. And that assessment can be collected and utilized for whatever the residents deem is most important to them. So specifically for the Sherman Park neighborhood, ours focuses on mostly home improvement. So there's a $5,000 grant that's available to everyone within that particular NID boundary. And you have access to that. And the way ours is set up is, again, it's primarily for repairs on the home. So a $5,000 grant, if you will, it's all the residents' money. So again, there's an assessment that's collected to create this pool, but there's that funding source that you can tap into. So it's kind of like a co-op within neighborhoods. So I believe there's if it's not 6, it's 7 total NIDs that have a component of this. There's also a community improvement aspect of it. So a NID is definitely a great program to have. It does take about a year. There's a lot of resident engagement. So a lot of neighbors working together and, pooling their ideals together to come up with these NIDs, but they're very, very impactful. The one that we have in our neighborhood has been going on for about 8 years. The funding is spent, especially for the housing component, within the first day or two. It's kind of first come, first basis, but depending on the neighborhood and what the residents want, then you can set it up so that it performs exactly how the residents all agree on. Then there's also the neighborhood improvement project, And this is a program that is offered through the Department of Neighborhood Services, and it's largely designed to address code violations. It's for homeowners that have lower to moderate income. So the percentage on that, county median income is about 60%. So someone that's just earning just under about $40,000. No, actually, it's a little bit higher this year. So maybe about $48,000. And they could, they would apply for the program. And if granted, they would have funding to be able to correct code violations. So then there's also, like Ben described, the targeted investment neighborhoods. That'd be the 10 program. He explained that pretty fully. And if you want to have more information on it, you can also reach out to myself and or to Ben or just NIDC directly. But the community association works as a liaison. So we'll help with applications. We'll help, if someone needs help filling out the application, we'll do whatever it takes to help you to access that particular resource and any other resource that's offered. Within the Sherman Park neighborhood, we also have 3 historic districts. And this is primarily an area, could be a street, it could be a series of streets where the houses have mostly remained intact. There's not a lot about the exterior of the home that has been changed. And a lot of the homes in the Sherman Park neighborhood are about right about 100 years old. So there's many other neighborhoods in Milwaukee that have some historic component to it. But so these are this is an overview of some of the programs that are offered. Neighborhood associations make sure that they have these sustained relationships, so that if you're just not quite sure of the programs, then you learned enough about the information tonight. If someone was in the Sherman Park neighborhood and they wanted to learn about that information, they definitely would reach out to myself, and I can help explain that. And and again, if you're not within one of the Sherman Park neighborhood, I'll be glad to help as well. So thank you for being here again today. And if there are any questions, I will remain around for question and answers as well. Thank you.
Great. Thanks so much, Jermaine. Really appreciate it. And now we're to that point of the Q&A session. Before I take the share screen off, I'm just going to put the Take Root contact information there, our website and the hotline. And I'm going to stop sharing the screen and we can address any questions before we adjourn for the day. So Jermaine's contact information. Great. Anyone have any questions that they'd like to field? I feel there were a few questions throughout the presentations, and I was able to answer those pretty easily, and Ben did a great job of answering the first couple that came up. So I'm going to say right now, thank you presenters so much for taking the time to walk us all through the different aspects of home ownership. I think that for those who have attended and those who will be viewing this recording later, I think they should be able to have a much clearer understanding of the process and really invaluable information and resources available. So again, thank you all so much for your time, and hopefully we'll see some new homeowners come out of this process. So again, thank you.